Welcome to the show. A new band in the world, Awakening Autumn. How you guys doing?
Doing good, pretty good today. How are you?
Good, 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 good. So I was fortunate enough to be you were sent my way from a mutual I guess you can call them friend. I guess they're more of your producer, I guess you could say. Friends of mine. I'm sure they're friends of yours too, but Kulik and his partner April, both very talented musicians, and they've also got into the uh, producing game of other artists. So I'm thankful for them to sending you my way, and you've got a new single out called "Break My Teeth." So I wanted to talk about that, but you guys are new and you seem very young. So talk to me about Awakening Autumn. I keep wanting to say Awakening August, and I don't know why.
We get that a lot
Yeah,
actually, which
that's
is
actually a
I don't
common
know
one.
where it comes from, but yeah, that's pretty normal.
Maybe autumn and August because it's kind of autumn is
August in a way.
kind
It's
of,
it's
Depending on
yeah,
the time
close.
of
I mean,
year.
August
close,
is just before,
right?
so why not? Because fall starts in September.
Yes,
September
technically,
22nd to be
to be
exact, and I know
exact.
that
Yes,
because that's my birthday.
there
So
you
that's
go.
part of where the band name came from. Part of it. It came from all sorts of things, though. I mean, I always really liked the season even before finding out about that, and so I don't remember the day I came up with the band name, and so I don't actually remember why I came up with it. I just make assumptions.
Yeah, yeah, it's been around as long as we can remember, right?
Well, like there was a day where it didn't exist, and then a day where it was. There's just a gap in my memory as far as that goes. But it's been around longer. Like the idea for the name has been around longer than I've known him, longer than I've actually been able to make music because um both my parents were musicians, so I came up in that environment, and I used to think when I was a lot younger, I thought I wanted to be an actor. I always knew I wanted to do entertainment, though. When I started to want to do music before I could even play it, I was already thinking of band names. So before I could play, before I knew anybody, before there was a band, I had thought of all sorts of band names, and a lot of them much worse than others. Yeah.
I should probably get your names before we continue. I didn't get those yet.
Yeah. So I'm McCade. I'm the lead singer. I'm the lyricist. The lyrics are what I'm most proud of, usually. Yeah.
And then I'm Spencer. I play bass and occasionally do keyboard.
Cool. And is there a third member? Or...
It's
As it stands, so members are very complicated. It's been like this two-piece thing for a while. We've had other members in the past. Right now, we know this 17-year-old kid. So I'm 20. He's 19. We met the 17-year-old kid. His name's Peyton. Incredible drummer. I don't even know how he does it. He's like creative. He's on the spot. Like he can just come up with, I don't know, one of the greatest drummers I've had the pleasure of meeting in person, and he's so young for it. So he's been working with the band recently, and that's been great. But other than that, it's basically, when we were up and recording the album with Jake and April, it was just us two, and this whole album was just us two, with the help of Jake and April, of course. But yeah.
You said album. I know you have one song out. You mentioned it's called "Break My Teeth," and let's talk about that. Do you have is the goal to have a full album eventually, or I mean, is it already
Yeah,
recorded and ready to go, or
it's
what's that
yeah,
look like?
it's cooked up and
exactly
ready to go.
that's
It's
what that's
Damn.
we're basically going towards that. I mean, we got a single coming out on Valentine's Day, second single for this album, and yeah, we're just getting toward the process of where we fully announce the album, and you know getting that out.
All right, cool. So this will probably air the week after Valentine's Day. So if you're watching or listening to this now, go check out Awakening Autumn. They'll have two singles at that point. Break My Teeth, and can you I guess you can because it'll already be out.
Yep.
The next single.
My
Yeah,
insecticide.
yeah, it's called My Insecticide. Yep.
Okay. Now, I I tend to stray away sometimes from talking about a song in particular or what it might be about because a lot of musicians want to kind of keep that not a secret, but kind of leave it open for interpretation. Let it kind of mean what it may to the person listening to it, right? But like, you're a new band, right? Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about this new song, "Break My Teeth." When April sent it over to me, she sent it over, and I was like, "Yep, let's do this." I really dig this song. Talk about this song. Talk about maybe why it's the first single release, and maybe writing it, recording it, what it might be about, all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, so couple things. First, you brought up how a lot of artists like to leave it open. Personally, I am more than happy to talk about what songs are about. It's my favorite thing about writing lyrics. Writing lyrics in general, like I said, is my favorite thing. And I think what I love about listening to music is finding out what it means, and you can still interpret it your own way. I mean, hell, there have been songs that I've written myself that a couple years later I knew what I wrote it about, but it means something different to me a couple years later. So
That's
I have
cool.
nothing against talking about the specifics of what I wrote the song about. So Break My Teeth, interesting fact about that is it was the most recent song written. Like the we had already planned the whole because we had to fly out to Pennsylvania to work with Jake and April. All of that was planned. It was like about a month away that we were going to go do that when I started writing that song. Started. So it's crazy how quickly it came to fruition, because I basically had to have all the lyrics and the structure finished before we got there within a month. So yeah.
And what is the song about?
So it fits into like a puzzle to the rest of the album, because the whole album is about like how a relationship falls apart, and it's a specific type of relationship, right? So Break My Teeth is talking about long distance relationships, specifically very long distance. So a lot of those lyrics are pertaining to a distance that is the other side of the world, and meeting that person and deciding how much they mean to you and how you're willing to push through that.
Okay. I personally love to hear the stories about what songs mean. And I kind of hate when bands don't want to talk about it, just because like I get it, 100% get it, but like I really enjoy and I think it's neat how you can even hear a song. And I always call this out. It's one of my favorite artists. His name is Pete Yorn. And this was back in 2003. I was dating this girl, and it was kind of things were kind of falling apart. And what I thought what his lyric was fall in love with me, I'll show you things you've never seen. And I didn't find out till years later that those were not the lyrics. It was actually is something wrong with me, which kind of like it kind of works both ways, because I
Yeah.
was like thinking about the girl and it's not working out. And in my mind I heard, fall in love with me because I wanted it to work. But I mean, and then on the flip side, I was like, is something wrong with me, which is kind of the same kind of thing. But it's just going back to music in general. It's just like um, it's neat how people can hear what they want to hear or just apply it in different ways. And so thank you for sharing. Is what I'm getting to is sharing.
Yeah.
That.
No, I like to. I mean, if this were Genius, I'd break down each individual line, right? It's so fun. The lyricism side of things, I can't stress that enough. That's my bread and butter right there. So
I think that's like a lot of the beauty of songs, specifically on the album. There was one song that we recorded out there in Pennsylvania, and it actually was probably, I still loved it, but it was probably my least favorite out of the bunch. And then yeah, I went through a breakup, and it like was like perfect for describing how I felt. And so it's like the song that on the album that was like my least favorite ended up turning into like my favorite now. Just because of like, you kind of relate to what to how you feel, and songs can mean different things when you depending on what's going on in life and everything.
Yeah. And you keep saying you flew out to Pennsylvania. You're in Utah right now. Talk to me about so like talk to me about your guys are young. You said 2019, and you're talking about a drummer who's 17. It's like, how did a 20-year-old and a 19-year-old get hooked up with a couple in Pennsylvania, um, and decide to fly out there and record with them?
Easy. Well, so we just really want to get murdered.
Oh, of course. That's the way to do it. You know?
No, it's a really interesting story. So it's funny because we were joking about it when we were out there with them. I've actually known Jake longer than April has. I'm a huge fan of Sleeping with Sirens as a band, and Jake toured with them on their acoustic tour a couple summers back, I think 2018. And so I'm front row, and it's just an acoustic set, and it's Jake and Keith.
Yeah.
And
Genscher, right?
yeah, and I just loved the set so much. I'm front row. Sirens hasn't even come out yet, but I left my spot in the front row to go meet Jake and, talk to him. I was, probably either just under 16 at the time or just over. It would have been August, so I wasn't quite 16 yet. I was 15 at the time. And yeah, from then on, he only had one single out. It was Ghost. And so I was just a super fan. I would listen to Ghost a lot, but I'd also go and listen to his live performances of any other song that I could. And so I've just been following Kulik as a project for as long as I could, well, as long as I've known about it. And yeah, so when I started producing music on my own, and I started to actually get a band together, I would send it to him as a fan and be like, hey, what do you think? And we've talked about it, and he says that people, I don't know, I should say that, but point is, they weren't good.
Yeah,
what I was sending, it wasn't good.
Did he say that? Did he tell you?
No, he was so nice about it.
He was always like, it reminds me of what I used to make. Keep going. And that's probably like the best way you can say that. And so, I kept going and kept going. So late 2021, we put together the last two songs we'd released. I didn't send to him because I didn't want to bother him, but we definitely gotten better. Not perfect, but we gotten better. And then we put out, we write one. It's called Halloween. We're going to release it on Halloween of 2021. And I send it to him because this one I'm like really fucking proud of. And so I send it, and I guess realistically, I'm expecting, yeah, keep it up, which is fine. That's like I said, that's a great response. I mean, it's great that he even took the time to listen to any of it and respond in the first place. It was a really crazy morning though, because we woke up and he was like, hey, this is like really awesome. In fact, we should hop on a Zoom call and we could like work together on something, talk about that. So that was just one of the craziest mornings of my entire life, was getting that message back as a super fan of not only him, but once April had, started touring with him, I started listening to her music, and now I'm like a fan of both of these artists. And now it's like, oh my God, they want to do a Zoom call with me? I don't know.
That's awesome. I mean, and it's a big risk you take too, right? It's like, you're a super fan of this guy, and you're like, I'm gonna send him my music. And like, he could like not get back to you. You can kind of feel like slighted just because like, you were hoping to hear back from him, right? Or you could be like, this sounds like dog shit.
Yeah. No, I'm surprised he didn't, initially, because like I said, the earlier stuff
they were rough.
Yeah, it was super
we were like
rough.
15,
and I don't, because I was self-producing it as like a 15, 16-year-old and sending that to him, and at the time it just sounded like the greatest song in the world to me. But now in hindsight, if I listen to either of them, I want to like cut my ears out. And so
it's like it was like 3 16-year-olds. We bought Ableton's like with because of the student discount, so we were still
we were in high school, so we used the student discount, which I don't know if that's what if that's what it's for.
I submitted a photo of my ID
Yeah,
and they said yes.
We
so.
submitted the student ID and they allowed it. So
Yeah,
that's not our fault.
Yeah. And so it was and yeah, we had never used any sort of music production equipment before, and we just, we're working. I think we're both working at a just a cafe down the road, spending money on getting instruments.
Ironically, it was a place called Cafe Zupas. It is not a cafe in the slightest. It just not in the slightest. It's lunch.
It's very good.
It's my favorite restaurant. It's sandwiches, soups, and salads. It is not a cafe.
It's not a cafe.
So no
But
coffee.
it's called a cafe.
Yeah, no coffee.
No coffee.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Oh.
yeah, I guess
It's like a weird middle ground.
Do you have to have coffee to be a cafe? I mean, to me, I would assume there's coffee, or at least some
I
kind of
assume
hot beverage.
That's what a lot of people who come from out of town say.
They
will
would
try it and they'll be like, I expected to get a coffee there.
and Zupas means soup, right?
Okay.
Or Zupa means soup, so the restaurant is called Coffee Soups.
Okay.
Which
so
is
it's a
if you translate it.
but it's fun thinking back on now, where we were just 4 or 5 years ago now, we're sitting in his basement and we've got our equipment that we're slowly cobbling together with our paychecks from this part-time gig,
Minimum wage job.
job on the side. And it's nice to know how far the music comes since then.
Yeah, already. I mean, it's like in some ways it feels like we are nowhere yet, but at the same time it's like we must have been below nowhere then, so it's like looking how far we are from there, it is already just nuts.
Yeah, but I mean, you're still so young too. You have so much time to keep getting better and better, and that's what's cool to think about. Like, you're at a level now, like you're talking to guys like Kulik and April who have been doing this for a while, and Kulik was signed to RCA and all that kind of stuff. Like, obviously you've got something if he would take the time to respond to you and then go a step further and say, like, let's work on this together. And I love his response. Like, that's so I have no musical ability at all whatsoever. Like, I couldn't even tell you any
Someone
kind of
say the same about me. No, I'm just
I know I literally have zero. Like, I like music theory. Like, I could, if you said a term, I probably wouldn't know what it is. But I like to think I have a good sense of what sounds good and what's appealing to an audience. And I say that in I've had a lot of bands like present me their music before they release it because they value my opinion for whatever it's worth. It's kind of weird, but I've people will send me stuff and I'm like, this is dog shit. I can't see that. But so I love his like, oh, that sounds like when I first started. Yeah. It's like he kind of says it's not great but without saying it's not great. But it's not abrasive like that.
It's also still like a compliment of being like, like
you can do this, like keep going.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's awesome. And what you said about feeling like you still have a sense of what's good and what's not. I feel like, there's a lot of truth to that, just in people who, music is something that is built into us. You get a baby and you play a song, they can bop their head to the beat, like, and with no understanding of what a beat is in the first place. It's all stuff that's built into us to some degree. And before I knew anything about music, I would listen to songs that had shitty production and I wouldn't know what shitty production was, but I could hear it. You can hear, you don't know why it sounds like garbage, but it's like, this sounds like garbage, right? And so I feel like to that degree it's built into you, and so I think that's completely valid what you were saying. And especially true with creative type people, regardless of what you're working toward.
I always say that I'm not creative either, and then when I say that, people are like, well, what are you doing now? You're being creative now. It's like, I guess maybe. I mean, I'm just talking, and I'm letting the creatives talk about being creative. I'm just kind of giving them a platform. But
I'd say what you are doing is inherently creative, but that that's just my opinion.
I'd say the mug is very creative.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah, I want one of the mugs. I do.
So, well, I work full time. This whole podcast is very much a passion project for me. Um, I work full time at a screen printing company called Axelrad Screen Printing. I know you mentioned you had merch there, and we'll get to that too. So we our sweet spot is screen printing and embroidery. We don't get in a lot of like promotional products like in-house, but this was like an in-house test run, and I was fortunate enough that they used my logo. So I have there's the angry face, and then I have the inquisitive like eyebrow raise face. So this is one of two in the world right now.
One of two in the world.
Yeah. So everyone likes this
So-
though. Like they keep saying like, "Oh, I want that mug," and it's like, should I make these? Like, will people buy them, or they just be a nice thing?
I would buy one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where do I get 2 of 2?
Where do I want the collection?
Yeah,
I gotta start production, I guess.
you do, and you
But
know,
then
you said there's embroidery as well. I love embroidered stuff so much, like embroidered shirts. It's so much better. Like you get an embroidered hoodie because there's no like ink or printing that's gonna
Yeah.
come off.
So when I had this logo created, and it's from my good buddy Keith Perks at 1120 Studios. Shout out to Keith. I didn't have it created with an embroidery thought in mind. I could get this screen printed. I can get it put on a mug, but it's not really going to translate well to embroidery.
oh yeah, not that
Yeah,
logo
it's one of those-
specifically.
it's
I
one
was
of
just
those
kind
I
of
ones
know.
that-
No, I know, but
going off.
yeah, no, I understand that, and I
Oh.
appreciate that. I'm sad that I didn't have that that thought, in my head before but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But thank you.
No, of course. it is a beautiful mug. I don't
So
know. But
Yeah, so you should get merch done with Axelrad, and when you come to PA again, you can pick it up, or I'll ship it to you.
yeah, I mean, when we can afford. So, while we're on, should we talk about merch now or later?
Well, we can circle back to that because I don't want to jump around too much. I want to stay on the fact that like the young kids, like
Yeah.
you reach out to your this guy that you kind of you're a super fan of. He kind of tells you like, yeah, that sounds okay and whatever, and you knew it didn't, and then you got better, and then you send him a new song. He's like, let's work through this, and then you ended up flying out to his studio in Pennsylvania from Utah as 20-year-old kids, because you want to get murdered. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's really the only way to get famous anymore. Is
Yeah,
to
you
die.
gotta, we were hoping to end up on one of the, the murder podcasts, the
Yeah.
Unsolved Crimes.
All right, I'm sorry. Your first time has to be with me. But you're right though. I mean, like think about like you have to die to be remembered again. Like how many musicians die and like everyone's streaming their music because
Well,
they're dead now.
especially now, there's so many artists who it's like I've never heard of them. I could go to anyone on the street, and for the most part, people are gonna be like, "Yeah, I've never heard of them." And I'm not discrediting their art. Like, I'm not saying that these artists aren't good, but there's a lot of these artists who aren't known. And then someone dies, and now you can't avoid them.
Mhm.
And I don't even know what to say about that. It's like good for them, I guess. I don't know.
It's always a weird situation
Because I'm not saying it's like a bad thing that they're getting recognized after they die.
Yeah.
But is it a good thing?
It sucks
I
that
don't-
it took them dying for them to get
Yeah.
recognized. I
Right.
think is the worst part of it.
So, and I guess what I'm trying to circle back to is I'm just gonna do anything to get big. No, I'm just...
If I have to die, I die.
yeah.
Whatever.
It was actually
You can
pretty
say-
funny how it ended up happening. So
Well,
we were
You could say you die trying. There it is.
facts.
Sorry, I had to do it before.
No, you're good. You had to
I
get
had
the
to do it
joke off.
before I
I get
left.
that.
Um,
Yeah, feel free to interrupt us.
Yeah, we
no,
don't-
I had to get it in there before it was too late.
No, of course. I'm just like we won't take it personally, regardless. So
Yeah, it was but it was pretty funny how it happened. So we've been talking to him for a while, and we've been sending music clips back and forth through just through email, Dropbox, the whole shebang. And it was pretty rough. Like the exporting, importing, like over every time you send something back and forth.
the creative process is so muted when you're working like that, because when you're in a room with multiple people and it's like, oh, what if I try this? So they do it, and then it's like you can discuss and you can be like, oh, that's good, but what if we did this? And it happens so quick and organically versus, hey, I tried something, I'm going to export the file and put it in Dropbox, listen to it and tell me what you think, and then I'll be like, I'm at work right now, I'll listen to it tonight. And it just...
And so we talked about it, and eventually they were just like, I don't know actually, how did it come up? It was just kind of like a thing that came up at some point.
I personally brought it up because initially they said it was possible when we first started working with them. We worked with them remotely for a couple of months, and I got on a call with them. I was like, I think I'd rather fly out there. This is terrible.
It was not working very well.
Yeah.
And so it eventually just came down to like, we'll fly out there and we'll get so much more done so much quicker if we can just have that creative flow in the room.
Did I lose you? Oh, I thought I lost you. I'm sorry.
Oh
no, yeah. Spencer just ends his sentence. It's weird, where he sounds like he's mid-sentence,
and then I just end. Yeah. So.
All right. So.
I'm used to it. I forget that people are.
We'll be more productive. Let's fly out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they were like,
makes sense.
Hell yeah. And so, cut to a few months later. They're picking us up at the airport, and
did they have your names on a card?
No, but what they did
Come on, they blew it.
They knew I was a super fan, and so they picked us up in their tour van, which I already knew was named Vanellope. It's a pun. So I knew all of that, and so they picked us up in the tour van specifically for my sake. It was so funny.
That is funny.
And then this is a funny story, really quick.
Oh no!
So we're driving back from the airport, and they're taking us, to the studio, and
it's like an hour.
It's like an hour and a half drive from Philly, where we flew in. So it's in it's like a town called Lemoyne, and we get on this road, and we're all starving, and we're like, okay, we're gonna navigate to Wendy's. It sounds good to all of us. So we're, it's navigation says we're like 5 or 6 minutes away, and we're looking around. It's like a residential area, like houses, people playing outside, like park. And we're like, what? Where the heck is this Wendy's?
And then I look to my left, and I see a sign that says Wendy Street. The street is called Wendy Street, and I hadn't slept for 2 days following that flight because I was like, I'll sleep on the plane, but I'm 6'4", and I guess I didn't think about that. So I'm on the plane. There was no getting comfortable, and then we had a layover. There was a few hours, and I just was so miserable. And they were like, let's get food. And at that point, I was like, I didn't say anything. I was thinking I'd rather sleep, but everyone was hungry, so I'm just like chilling. And then it's not even the Wendy's in the first place. And I was like, oh my
random street
God.
Called Wendy Street.
I was like, this would happen, wouldn't it?
Good news is we got our Wendy's in the end.
That's good. You're probably worried, like, this guy's gonna take me back to the airport and tell me to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
All
No,
right.
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
So you had Wendy's.
Yeah, it was delicious.
That's good. Wendy's is my favorite of the fast food offerings.
The 4 for $4 for the price.
You can't beat it.
It's my least favorite. I worked at one for 2 weeks, and the place was disgusting. That might just be a local problem, though.
Don't ruin this for me.
I didn't work at one in the East Coast.
I know, but still, like, it all translates.
It probably does, because never mind. No, I won't ruin it for you.
All right. I haven't had Wendy's in a long time, man.
Wendy's, no.
So yeah, and then we headed back to the studio. Took a fat nap. One of the best naps of my life.
We didn't. We watched South Park.
Oh, that's right.
Of Mormons.
Yeah, they were like, you guys, we've never seen South Park. Neither of us.
Well, I knew what South Park was. I just never sat down and watched it. And they were like, hey, we saw this funny South Park episode about Mormons. Can you guys watch it with us and tell us how much of it is true? And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm so tired. So, there was no nap. we watched an episode of South Park, then we went up to the studio and worked for a couple of hours because we weren't initially going to work that first day, but then we were all just we had the creative juices flowing, and so we went up and still worked for a couple of hours before getting any sleep.
But that sleep that you had was the best sleep of your life.
It was the best sleep of my life. I was
Sure.
on a couch.
I struggled to fall asleep. I slept for like 3 hours tops and then was miserable the next day too. But then the next night was the best sleep of my life.
You finally crashed.
The first night for me, I was gone within like 4 minutes. Like everyone, they were like, they walked out of the room and I was gone. It was too late for me.
So how long were you there for?
10 days?
I think it was 11.
I think 11 days. Yeah, it was like 10 or 11 days of just, I think it was 10 full days. I'm not sure. It doesn't.
It was 10 full days and like a half of a, like the first day was like a half day.
Let's just call it 10. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't.
This is like, I feel like you guys are doing something at 20 or 19, 20 years old. Like that, like most people don't do.
Yeah, ever. No.
Flying, you're crashing in a studio for 10 days. I mean, maybe people are doing that all the time. I don't know. This just seems kind of like,
I have yet to talk to someone our age that has also done that. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I mean, it's so much fun. But it's also like getting a tattoo in a way, because I love getting tattoos, but actually getting the tattoo isn't the fun part. I got so fucking sick of recording vocals. I was so tired of recording vocals, and it was like 10 days of 12-hour work days basically. And it wasn't vocals every day, but it was vocals every other day. And toward the end, they were just like, should we put a harmony here? And I was like, no, we shouldn't. Let's just get done.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah. No, and they're really good about that, because they're like, no, you really should put a harmony here. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. No, there was never tension like that though. I mean, even when everyone was individually annoyed, everyone was also always still nice to each other, which was good, because I don't do well with those like tension-packed rooms where people are annoyed at each other.
Well, I guess that's normal though, right? I mean, like, it's not like you record a song and it's like the best song ever, the first try, right? It's like unheard of.
Yeah,
so I mean, it's part of the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that trial and error, finding out what sounds good, what you like.
No, personally, everything we did was perfect immediately. No,
So you're there for 10 days. How many songs did you end up recording?
6. So it was, we did with them 10 songs total. We did 4 songs remotely, and 6 up in Pennsylvania with them. Yeah.
Very cool. And they're all done, ready to go.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know much about Kulik, but that guy loves his ice baths. Have you seen his ice bath posts on Instagram?
I had. So funny thing about, so I've known Kulik for about 5 years, probably. So the tour you saw him on is probably, I'm trying to think. So he was my first interview I ever had on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine me. So like that was I started my radio show in 2017, and I think he was in our studios in 2018. And the program director of the station at the time, like, it's like, yes, he was signed to RCA Records, but like he didn't have like a lot, like it wasn't like ready for like prime time radio play. Well, like, the drive time, all that kind of shit. So our program director, like, he's like, we had this like local show, and he was at the time, I think he was living in, or he was from maybe 40 minutes from where we were. So we kind of, used that angle. So we were able to play his song, and then my PD was like, let's do an interview. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I'm not even a year into doing my show. I don't have any like I was on the radio with zero experience. Like, I was in sales. Like, I was doing that as a very much like just a love of music and love of our local scene and all that kind of shit. So he's like, "You're gonna do this interview," and so I'm like doing research on Kulik, and it's like he's signed to RCA Records, and I'm like, "What the fuck am I doing? What am I gonna do? This guy's from like he's signed to an actual record label that people know about." And it was I mean, I still have it to this day. It's on SoundCloud. But yeah, so I got through it. It was very nerve-wracking. But what I was getting to is he was my very first interview I ever had. That's how I met him, and we've been in touch ever since. He was, a guest on the podcast that I had as part of that radio show, and then he's been on as a guest for this platform. And I saw him at the Electric City Music Conference back in September last year, and he's always been very supportive of everything that I do, and he's just a great human being, and he's always fucking running. And then you mentioned like he's doing the ice baths now, and it's like, fuck you, dude. Like,
yeah, right. That's completely true.
That was one of the things.
I say that with love, Jake.
Yeah, well, me too. But it's like, what kind of willpower that you're just like, he's like up 7 a.m. sharp, and he's like, "Okay, it's freezing cold and raining. I'm going for a run, and then I'm gonna dip in the ice bath after, and then we can get to work." And it's like, what? Yeah. So, what did you say?
And the worst part being, so he got me to join him, and so I started running with him every morning, and I haven't ran in years, like just to like run. So I'm struggling to keep up a bit, and then afterwards he's like, "You want to try the ice bath?" And I was like looking at it, I was like, maybe. And
kind of, but not
ends
really.
up he kind of, the second day he convinces me to go in, and
he dips in and stands straight
back up, and I was like, no, I'm good. But eventually I ended up trying it fully, and I will say the feeling afterwards is so nice. It's worth
what you do it
the
for.
pain.
I wouldn't know, but from what I hear,
that's like everything though, right? It's like, you think about working out. Well, I mean, this is me. Like, I think about working out. I think about getting on my Peloton, and like, I just hate the thought of it. Like, I get tired thinking about it. Like, I mean, I got 20 years on you guys. I'm 40 years old. I've got 2 kids. I'm married, a full-time job. Like, I get beat down like from the time I wake up to like the time I get home. And the thought of like exercising or anything like that is just the last thing I'm thinking of, and it's just like miserable. But like, if you do it and you get through it, it's like, man, that felt fucking great. I need to keep doing that again.
No,
that's like everything. It's
it's like the tattoo analogy again.
Yeah.
There's the painful part, but the feeling afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. The process sucks, right? But like at the end of it, it's like you got a sweet tattoo. You work out, you feel fucking great. You like the thought of like doing yard work. I fucking can't stand it. But once I get it, and with anything, like it's like once I start something, I don't stop. That's the thing. It's getting started for me with anything. I mean, even this podcast, like I wake up in the morning and I'm like, all right, I have this to do today, and then I have to get home and I have a podcast at night. I'm like, oh my God, the last thing I want to do tonight is a fucking podcast. But the minute I hit record, it's like, fuck yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good to hear.
So
glad to hear you're not hating this right now.
He's like, usually every week, except this week, I'm miserable right now.
I wish these guys got fucking murdered on the fucking trip to record this fucking music. What the fuck am I here?
Yeah, we do too, because then the music would have taken off.
Yeah, they could have released it after our deaths. And
we actually told them to. We told them if one of our planes goes down, put out the music.
Yeah, please
do what you want with it.
Yeah, you guys wrote Will's out. You have it in the bottom, like, Jake, please release our music.
Yeah, exactly, just all like that.
So 10 days with Kulik in April. Recorded 6 songs. We have 10 done in full. You released the the Break My Teeth song. Like I said, today's the 8th of February, last week or whatever?
Yeah, 27th of January. So it hasn't been 2 weeks yet.
Okay.
But I mean,
About 10
no,
days.
it's crazy. Because we've put out songs before, just kind of the self-produced songs that we've put out, and we deleted them all just before going into this record era. I don't know.
Can you share them with me at least? I would love to
Yeah,
hear
no,
them.
they're all on SoundCloud
Okay,
still.
cool.
So
I
it's
have
like I'm not hiding them from the public, but as far as something like Spotify and stuff goes, I
Sure.
wanted the slate clean there. But
Of course,
everything
yeah.
that we've done
a good move.
is on SoundCloud because I don't want to like hide it. I don't want to pretend that it doesn't exist.
You know,
I just
y'all come from somewhere. And
Yeah.
that's where we started, and we're still proud of that.
And is it under the same name?
Yeah, it's Awakening Autumn.
Sweet.
So I think there should be 5 songs on there, ranging from when I was like 15, well, and up until like more recently, the one from late 2021 Halloween, which I was talking about.
Sweet.
We have a song called January on there. It's fucking dog shit.
It's
I can't wait to listen.
It was experimental.
It was like, I don't know what we were thinking. I genuinely cannot recall what in my head was like, yeah, this is good. Release it.
This.
I don't know, but all of those songs that are on the SoundCloud, except for January, are actually redone on this upcoming record.
Cool. That's awesome.
So, yeah, that is good. And you know, while we're actually on the topic, the whole reason I went on that little tangent is, you know, we've done releases before and whatnot. It is crazy though that, you know, with Break My Teeth having come out, it's broken in the first week. It broke 2,000 plays or streams just on Spotify. I don't know about other things, and you know, I guess to a lot of people those numbers don't sound super big, but what's crazy about it, being in the first week, is none of the other songs we ever put out ever broke 2,000 on Spotify
after being out for
years. Yeah, years. Never broke 2,000. Some of them didn't even break 1,000, and so just it is crazy with the reception of Break My Teeth. And it is so funny to say this, but we, at least, you know, I made the final decision, and I owe it to his boss. Where he works, so his boss is so invested in our music, and it's so funny. Such an awesome guy, so funny. His name's Nelson, and you know, when Spencer was showing him just everything early,
really to preface, during my interview, he one of the first question he asked when I sit down, he goes, "So you're in a band?"
Yeah, because you put that on your
I put it on my resume because fuck it, why not? And so he just goes, "So you're in a band?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Do you have any songs?" I was like, "Sure." And I pulled out my phone and let him listen to one. And then he just continued the interview like nothing happened. He was like, "That was incredible. I loved that." And then he's like, "So what experience do you have?"
Yeah. And so Nelson, we have a band account, and then I have like my personal Instagram account. So, you know, we've been speaking with you on the Awakening Autumn band account, and he started messaging that to get a hold of me, and he's like, "What do these lyrics mean? What do these lyrics mean?" And he's like, such a nice guy. He cares so much about the music. He's, you know, genuinely passionate about it and cares. That he was actually such a huge help in getting this record done, period.
Letting me, you know, I was like 2 months into a new job when I took like a week and a half of PTO to fly out. And
he was totally supportive, and down to lending Spencer money to help him pay off his half of what we were paying toward Jake and April, as far as getting
just
out.
Because we were worried about it of slowing the release date.
Yeah, we were worried the release date wouldn't be as soon as we wanted it to be because of paying it off. And so his boss lended him money, and really, Nelson's just such a great guy. But you know, we're talking, and we're at the point where it's time to start talking singles, and he's like, "Break My Teeth." He's like, "Do Break My Teeth" is the lead single. And I was like, why? And like, because I love the song. You know, I wrote it. It means everything to me, you know, but just because of the situation that I wrote it about, where I was. But at the same time, I didn't think of it as even a single, let alone the lead single, because it's like, it's just it's a cutesy, sappy song, and there's nothing wrong with those. But you know, I don't know. It just didn't feel like a single to me. And Nelson's like, no,
It
this
needs
is
to
the
be
single,
lead single.
the lead single. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go with Nelson's gut on this, and we did Break My Teeth as the lead single, and it has performed insanely well. And I'm still waiting on the "I told you so" text.
And everyone who has heard it so far has told us like
They love it.
they love it.
Yeah.
And so we were like, Nelson.
Yeah, shout out Nelson.
Yeah, shout
Yeah,
out,
shout out
Shout
to
out,
Nelson.
shout out Nelson on multiple levels. Because I was actually going to ask you guys before, like, I'm like, where are these guys? Like, I'm assuming you guys work,
Mhm.
have jobs. Like, how are these guys, like, taking 10 days off to fucking the plane ticket, 10 days off to fly to Pennsylvania? Like, what's going on here? But like, damn, Nelson, what's up?
Yeah.
I mean, all sorts of supportive people on all fronts. I mean,
Yeah,
my boss is great. When I mean, my boss, totally fine with letting me take the time off, and she made me. We had a work meeting, and he was like, "All right, everyone, guess what? McCade has a song out," and just like played it. And that was uncomfortable, but she's one of the nicest people ever. And then both of our parents are incredibly supportive people. So just shout out to all of the people involved, like friends and family. Our parents have done so much for us along the way, our bosses and our close friends. It is like so much love that we get from those people that really made this happen.
Yeah. Well, and there's this saying that youth is wasted on the young, and it's so true because like, when you have youth, like you have all the energy and this ambition to do all these things, but you don't have the resources to take advantage of it, right? So kudos to those around you who are like, let's support these guys. And you know what? If it goes somewhere, great. If it doesn't, they gave it a shot, and we were supportive of that. So Nelson and your boss and your parents, it's a great thing to hear, and that warms my heart a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. No, and especially it's all because further to your point of youth is wasted on the young. That is a huge benefit to having my parents have both been musicians.
Mm-hmm.
That my parents both did so much even when I was young in supporting me, as far as they got me the laptop to put a DAW on, they got me like a mixer, stuff like that, to even start doing it. And because my dad's a producer, and when I was early into this process, I was like, I had the band, I wasn't producing yet, and I was like, someone approached us like, hey, come do some studio work. And I tell my dad, because to me, I'm like starstruck at the idea of going to a studio when I'm like 16, and my dad's like, do it yourself. and in like the smartest way possible. He's not being a jerk. He's telling me, right, do it yourself. He's like, even if you go to the studio, they don't care about your music like you care about your music. You learn to do it yourself, so then if one day you decide to go to a studio, you can at least begin to know what you're talking about. Because what if they start throwing around terms that don't even mean anything to you? They're like, what should we do with this? I don't know.
Should we adjust the scrungo?
Yeah. How about the bonkle? It means nothing to you. And
I'm lost.
That exactly. We all are. But so he's like, do it yourself, and not in a mean way, because then he provided me the resources to do it myself. Both my parents did, and insanely supportive. And so then I had like this basis. Like, I'm not the most crazy talented producer in the world by any means, but now I have this basis for what things are. And so when I finally decided to go and work with Jake and April, it's like, I can actually say shit. I know what I want to do, and like, they'll listen. And either way, the crazy thing about Jake and April is, because what my dad said is completely true, that most producers just don't care about your music like you do. When you go and work with them, though, they really do care as much as you do. And like, it's not a facade, you feel it. Like they care. They love creating it with you. It is.
They don't mind going, yeah, that's dog shit. We need to
Yeah.
they're like, we don't like that idea, but if that's what you want, we'll do it.
Yeah, they're like, I'm going to tell you why that's a bad idea, but if you still want to do it, you can. And they're very, I don't know, like they care.
They're
they
great
really
people. I mean,
yeah.
Just yeah.
That's why
They're
I
just great
like.
people.
I wish like every musician in the world could work with them at some point, because it was just such a pleasure, and just that they cared. That is just surprising in and of itself to me, that to have someone care about my music like I care about my music, and then like they're still listening to it. You know, like they listen to it. Jake tells me I just ran to the album this morning. You know, and it's it's crazy.
Not only that, it was also the ultimate fan experience.
Yeah, how about it, right?
Yeah. So
they say never meet your heroes, but it went fine. It really did.
We kept saying that, like the entire time we were there as a joke.
Anytime
like,
anything would happen, we just say it was an ultimate fan experience.
I remember the funniest one to me is I'm a huge gamer. Like when my relaxed time, I'm playing video games most of the time, and Jacob plays a few here and there. And so I'm sitting there and he's making me play, he's having me play Call of Duty, the Battle Royale version, the Warzone. And I did not like that game. But I didn't understand it. It was a big reason I didn't like it. And so he's sitting there and he's like coaching me. He's like, oh, don't take that fight. Get away. And I ended up winning.
Oh.
And I was like, ultimate fan experience. The only time I've ever won.
He had us try on his hearing aids.
That was funny too.
So just a crazy, surreal experience. But yeah, total digression, all of that. The point is so much love and support from so many people, you know, especially my parents. And yeah, it's that, like, we are very lucky. You know, we do put in so much hard work, but so much of it wouldn't be possible without those people. Definitely.
That's awesome. It's so awesome to hear. So let's talk about it. Like, you have 10 songs. You're releasing another song on the 14th of February.
Yes, sir.
What are the plans for 2023? Are we releasing like 2 more after that, even, and then the full length, or
yeah, 2
doing?
more after that, then the full length album. You nailed it right on the head. So
like I've done this before. Damn.
You know, I'm more than comfortable to talk release dates, honestly, because to me, we're not famous, and any press is good press, right? And so, but like February 14th, and then I think March 3rd, we've got a 3rd single coming out. And after that, I don't know specific dates, but I think by May, the full album's out by May.
Cool.
I think if it comes out later,
sue us.
Don't quote me. Do that, yeah, for misinformation. No, yeah, yeah. That's where it's at. So my Insecticide is out February 14th. It is one of my favorite songs that we did up there because of how it turned out. Because what I'll tell you is, it was, when I went up there, it was every intention of being a softer acoustic song. And it is so funny. When we recorded the song before that, we were using an effect called bit crushers. And we loaded up, we were done working on that, and we go to start working on my Insecticide. And I'm like, all right, guitar chords are these, and Jake records them, tries it real quick, and then he plays it, and the bit crusher was on the track on accident. But it sounded so fucking cool. So this song that was meant to be a soft acoustic song, you'll hear it. It is not like that. It is not that at all.
And that's awesome. I mean, another.
Yeah, no.
Maybe
that's what I love about it so much.
We talked about having, or being in a studio where things kind of happen organically. Like, perfect example, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And yeah, I don't know. That's why I love it so much, is because I know what I wrote, and now I've got this thing that sounds nothing like it, but like in a great way.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. That's what I told them there. A lot of songs, it's like so many things turned out in a way that I hadn't initially pictured it, but it turned out better. And that's a great feeling.
Yeah, well, and now you can revisit that song and maybe do it the acoustic version.
Yeah,
You know?
live or something,
Yeah.
coffee shop performance. I don't
Yeah.
know. Something like that, completely possible. And it is fun.
Yeah. So as far, I mean, you're planning on releasing this whole thing in May. I mean, do you guys are you guys like actively performing shows? Is that on your radar? Or is that a plan? Like, what's that like?
Yeah, eventually that's a plan. I mean, we've just got a few things behind the scenes to figure out before we do that, but we don't have shows planned right now or
Okay.
anything like that. But that is definitely in store as far as
Cool.
2023 goes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting, man. I'm excited for you. Like I said, April reached out and I heard the song. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And this has honestly been one of the most fun I've had in a few weeks doing that. I mean, I love doing all of this every time, but this is a lot of fun. And you guys are from Utah, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you guys see the spy balloon? Was that over you at all on its way to Montana?
It might have been. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I wish that I had known there was a spy balloon, because then I would have looked personally, and I would have got a BB gun that wouldn't have reached that high to begin with. But like, it's all about the imagination, and it's the thought that counts. And I would just shoot at the sky.
I've been obsessed about the spy balloon since it was announced that was going on.
I read the article and I was like, I thought it was a joke the first time I saw the article. It seemed like a meme, and then I kept seeing it. And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like that actually happened?
This is real?
How did this giant goddamn balloon from China hover over the country?
Right? Like, is no one watching the sky? Like, what the fuck's going on here?
No radar, no anything. Pick that up. It just
but I have to take off my shoes before I board the plane. Yeah, how about we pay attention to the shit that actually matters?
It's amazing. It's like and there's probably shit that we're not being told. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but like, come on.
I'm not either, but there's always stuff you're not being told, and that's not a dig at the current administration or the last administration. The government period is never going to tell us everything. Everyone's just lying to us. Trump, Biden, anyone. They all hate us.
Especially China. Fuck.
Especially China.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, I've been obsessed.
I feel like, and I'm not saying that I want to go to war or anything.
Oh.
I'm just surprised that something like that doesn't lead down that road. So I'm not saying we should go to war. I'm saying I'm surprised
there was not as much backlash.
Yeah, like they're just like, China's like, oopsies, and the US is like, yeah,
it's fine.
And it's like, that's it? That's like, again, I don't want to go to war, but that's it.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. It's like, yeah, like, oh, this it blew over by accident. Sorry. And then it's like, okay, well, we'll let it hang out for a couple days, no big deal. And it's like, oh wait, let's shoot it down. And then China's like, oh, how dare you shoot down our fucking balloon with surveillance equipment on it? How dare you?
Yeah.
We're mad now.
I am prime drafting age, so like, if they can just wait a bit before they really let shit go haywire, that would be ideal for me.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. They're not taking a 40-year-old fat dad.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I think personally, if it came down to it, I would be fine without my right leg. And then what are they gonna do?
Oh man. Oh shit.
My right foot has this weird mole on it anyway, so I might be like avoiding.
Yeah, I may want to get rid of that.
Some
Just cut
some
it off.
kind of. Yeah, just take the whole leg. It might
it's like zombie. It's like the zombie movies, right? You got an infection, a bite, and you got to take off the whole leg. Stop it.
Yeah,
and then I can't get drafted against China, which they've got balloons now.
Yeah,
so that's terrifying.
High tech shit. And
I know some real high tech shit.
I know this is going to air after this is going to be like this event will be over, but are you guys football fans or no?
Oh yeah,
I watch The Super Bowl.
Okay,
I do
so
not. I do not follow anything else, and then the Super Bowl happens, and I pick the team. I just pick a team based on their name, and I'm like, I want this one to win. And you know what? The weird thing is, they usually do.
okay, so who you
I
got?
like,
Chiefs versus Eagles. Who you got?
I'm gonna say the Chiefs,
Nah.
Wow.
just based on names. I don't have like, again, I don't have an opinion on the players as long as it's not Tom Brady.
No, he's on the Buccaneers now.
Yeah, he's
I'm
actually retired now too. So
Yeah,
For
now.
supposedly. Again.
now.
Supposedly, I'm a huge Packers fan.
Okay.
But I'm hoping the Eagles win.
So
Out of the two.
Yeah.
I have a friend who was like, "You're rooting for the Steelers now," a couple years ago, and I was like, "Okay," and I haven't looked back. So if the Steelers ever end up in the Super Bowl, that'd be great. Because if I had to pick one team, I'd say the Steelers, specifically because I was instructed to do so, and I'm nothing but a guppy that follows orders. So
It's the wrong PA team though. I hate the
Yeah.
Steelers. I don't hate the Steelers. I hate their fans more than I do the team.
okay, sorry. I'm just
He's like, this interaction has ruined Steelers for me.
he's like, "Oh, you like this?" Click, and he never airs the episode.
Yeah.
You'll
I
never
think the
be
best
exposed
thing,
to my 5 listeners.
Well, actually, in your bio, you have Breaking Benjamin in your bio. Did you interview them?
Well, I interviewed the bass player.
That is just crazy to me. I grew up listening to like Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace, so I just thought that was crazy. Period.
Yeah, so I know the original guitar player, Aaron Fink,
Mhm.
friend of mine. I just saw him 2 weeks ago. And he's doing his own solo stuff now. But I also am good friends with the Aaron Bruck, who's the current bass player and backup vocals for the current Breaking Benjamin. So yes, I did not interview Ben himself, but maybe one day he'll take
Either way, I know it's still crazy, just as
Yeah.
someone who grew up listening to them, and especially 3 Days Grace. A lot more 3 Days Grace, honestly. But
Yeah, I think the two shockers, and they're probably way too old for you, but Everclear and the Verve Pipe were like kind of like,
yeah, I saw those in your bio too, and you're right. I had never heard of them. I was like, I am sure that this is important, but I don't know why.
it's important to me, God damn it. But I'm sure you've heard the songs before. I mean, it's kind of like they have songs you can't escape. Well, I mean, maybe you could, because it's you're 20 years younger.
I
than I am.
remember. I'm 2003. He's 2002.
Yeah, it's. Well, Everclear had a huge song called "Wonderful," which was like 2001. But I mean, Santa Monica. I mean, I feel like you probably heard that by accident.
Yeah, well, I basically wasn't sentient till I was 5. So,
feel like I've heard a song
2001, and then
Well,
I
right.
was born 2002.
Right,
So
right.
whatever
But-
stayed popular,
but I'm like,
I don't remember.
Yeah, but I guess that's true too.
I don't know. I might have heard it. I don't recognize anything by name. I just if you
may
put it on,
If you
and
put it
I
on,
knew
maybe
it,
you'd know. In
Yeah.
any case, so
I'll get back to you on that.
yeah, let me know. But no, so like if you told 15-year-old me, who was like freshman in high school when like they were massive rock stars, that 38 or 39-year-old me would be interviewing them one day, I'd be like beside myself. So it's like one of those things. It's like, yeah, am I catching them on the way down? Maybe a falling star. I mean, I don't feel that way, but I mean,
Get a high
reality-
five.
the reality of the situation is they're not as big as they were in the late 90s, early 2000s. I think they know that. But yeah, Cold. I interviewed Scooter from Cold.
Nice.
Man,
I don't know who that is either, but that is cool.
That's cold.
It's Cold. But I mean, that was it, they had a huge song in 03. Again, you were barely
I gotta ask, what was your first concert as a music enjoyer?
So my first concert was actually Dave Matthews Band.
That's so funny.
There you go.
Yeah.
My family had tickets to see the Dave Matthews Band, and fucking sent us the ticket cast in resin, and I was like, that is so pretentious, and I love it with everything in me. Like, I am not shitting on Dave Matthews Band by any means. That is just hilariously pretentious and cool.
That's
But-
the kind of pretentious we hope to be.
Yeah, exactly.
We want to live up to that
That's-
over the
yeah.
top for no reason bullshit.
Yeah, and the one thing that I want to avoid that the Dave Matthews Band did, or at least their tour van manager did, was dumping all of that waste on a boat of people. You ever hear about that?
I did not know. I'm not a huge Dave Matthews Band fan. The girlfriend at the time was a huge like nut, like wacko. And that's why. But
No, so what happened was, I think it was in Chicago, their not van, but their RV, whatever, the RV they were in, whoever was driving it dumped all of the waste from the bus over a bridge right as a boat was going under it. And
That's
that is
shitty.
crazy.
That's
yeah,
shitty.
Ain't it literally? Yeah.
mhm.
Personally, my first concert was Rush.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which
Solid
is
first
interesting
concert.
for a person your age.
Yeah, well, my dad's favorite band in the world ever is
Yeah,
Rush, and
that makes
he's
sense,
seen
though.
them every time they've been to Utah since '83, I think, is what he told me.
Mhm.
And so then once I was old enough, I've seen Rush twice, and now you don't get to see Rush anymore. But
Right. Yeah.
Great shows.
I have a funny. Yeah, go ahead.
My first band.
Your
was
first
a-
band.
My first show was a smaller band called Water Parks.
Water Parks?
They're
Wow.
huge
Yeah,
now.
they're huge now, but at the time they were pretty
Water
small.
parks?
Have
Yeah,
you
Water
never heard of
Parks.
Water Parks?
No.
I guess it's not like they're like the biggest band in the world. I mean, they're no Dave Matthews Band, but
They're a trio of guys.
they're charting like all the time. They have songs with like Black Bear and shit, so they're big.
I'm looking forward to checking them out.
Yeah,
I-
they're.
I love them. Great
Yeah.
fellas. We've met them a couple of times.
I've sat on two of them.
Yeah, he has.
We got VIPs, and I went up to the lead singer, and I was like, it's like meet and greets and photos, and I was like, what pose do you want to do? You pick a pose, and he goes,
Sit on Jeff.
let's sit on Jeff. And so Jeff lies down on the ground, and we all sit on him, and that was the photo. And we were the last people in line, and it's so funny because all the other people who've already done their VIPs are looking back like, what the heck is going on over there?
I wanted to sit
I
on
want
Jeff.
to do that.
Yeah, that's another band I found because they opened for Sleeping with Sirens.
That's
I
cool.
listen to a lot of bands because they opened for Sleeping with Sirens, which is really funny. But
I have a cool a Dave Matthews Band story. I was actually in Disney 2007.
Mm.
And this is when I was a young man, 25 years old. And I don't know if you've ever been to Disney before, but like it's
No.
like I don't even know what park we were in, but like there was a small street and they had like a kind of like a parade going down. So we're waiting for the parade to start, and I look across the street and I see this guy who looks just like Dave Matthews, and he's with his like family and his kids.
Has anyone
And-
ever told you?
So I'm across the street and I look at him and like I give him a face like are you Dave? Like we had a whole conversation with each other without saying a word. So I look at him like, all right, are you Dave Matthews? And he kind of gave me a nod like, yes, I am who you think I am. Don't fucking bother me. So I was like, I'm not one of those guys like you're with your family. I respect that. Like, I'm like, I think I just saw Dave Matthews, and I know it was him because somebody else that I knew was also in Disney, and they posted photos of them with Dave Matthews because they weren't as nice as respectful.
Yeah,
as I was.
exactly. I've never ran into any celebrity in public, but
We
I
had
do
Demi
giving them a
Lovato
little salute.
came. We were close. We were at work one day at that same place we were talking about earlier, Zupa's,
and there was another location in a city like 20 minutes from us, and they were like, our manager comes in and is like, Demi Lovato is in the Orem location, and we were like,
wild.
what does that do for us?
Great.
Yeah, so
Exciting.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That was
and
the
then
closest I've ever been to meeting a celebrity.
In public.
Well,
the
in public.
I ran into one, not a big time celebrity, but he was a voice actor for The Simpsons. He was also in the TV show Friends. He was like a role player, I think it was, but like I couldn't think of his name. I couldn't even think of what I saw him in. I was in Cape May and with a little like shop in Cape May, and I was like, has to be the guy. I'm gonna ask him. And I said, like, are you the guy? Are you that actor guy? And he's like, no. And I put his head down and walked away. And I think I
Yeah.
know it was him. I know for a fact it was him.
100%.
But he was like he was, and I wasn't gonna bother him. I just kind of wanted to know for myself.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna be like, oh, can I take your picture or whatever. Like, I'm cool with the whole like you're with the family. I don't want to bother you. You're on vacation or whatever. But yeah, that's it.
Which is reasonable.
Yeah.
That's the way I think everyone should approach it. I mean, me personally, it would be great if someone came up to me in public, but
And said, "Are you that guy
yeah,
in Awakening Autumn?"
that would be ideal. That would be really. I mean, I had one thing happen. Because I have the logo tattooed on me, on my wrist,
Matching.
Okay.
and I went to a yeah. His is way
dedication.
fucking bigger.
Dedication.
I don't know why he got his so much bigger, but whatever. No, I went to a gas station. I pay. This guy's like, I like your tattoo. I was like, oh, thanks. It's my band logo. And he goes, I know. So he didn't say, yo, I love your band or anything like that. And I didn't. Yeah. That's the story. That's where I just
No idea who he is. Just I know.
Well, speaking of logos, and we'll wrap it up after this. But I think you're wearing your we talked about merch before. You got your logo on the shirt.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. And that'll be available, I'm assuming, along with the album release.
We are hoping to actually launch it with my insecticide on February 14th.
Okay.
So if all goes well, once this episode is out, the merch is going to be.
The idea is going to be t-shirts, hoodies.
It'll be easy. Look, we got this easy. We got the domain and everything. It's awakeningautumn.com.
Awakeningautumn.com. All there.
You can get the merch there.
Currently, right now it'll take you to a site that's password protected. Not ready yet, but
it wouldn't be hard to guess the password.
On the 14th, it's going to open up fully. We keep making jokes because we're still doing a little bit behind the scenes tweaking, but one of the things I will tell people is right now there's a white on white t-shirt. We're fixing that.
I don't know that I want to fix that because it's so funny. So the t-shirts we got here, you can just order in any color with the print on it. And the display is the white t-shirt with this white print on it.
Sure.
And that would be so funny to leave it there because you just get the all white shirt, t-shirt. But technically it's printed.
It's printed on there, and you can see there's like a slight difference in color. And we made jokes about leaving it up as like a limited time run for like 2 days and be like, if you get one and you live in Utah, we'll sign it for you.
Now, anyone who ever actually gets the white on white shirt is into shows free for life.
So just wear a white t-shirt to the shows, you're in for free.
And they'll be like, look, I got it. And I'll be like, I can't fucking tell. Let him in.
Let him in.
Just bring him in.
Every show would be full of white t-shirts.
Yeah, we have to design the rest of the merch. So like, what's a cool merch item in your opinion? What's something we should get on there?
Oh man, I don't know.
We got a hoodie and we got a t-shirt.
You could do cool hats with that logo on it, like a nice embroidered hat.
Ooh,
yeah. Can we do embroidered?
I think so. With the company we're
working with. We can do embroidered,
an embroidered hat with the
insect, I want an embroidered hoodie.
You can't get them.
You can or can't?
I don't know if our company does them, but
Axelrad does. To tell you.
Yeah, the company we're working with, what makes it so nice is we don't have to buy in bulk beforehand.
I know. That's
print on demand.
Yeah, we do this, so we could do the same thing. That's kind of where a lot of people are going now, unless you're like a huge touring band where like you're going to sell merch. Like it's kind of where things are going.
So you guys can do non-bulk, is what you're saying,
right? So we could build you like a web store. So a lot of those things are print on demand. So a lot of print on demand stuff is a process called DTG, which is direct to garment. So like someone would order it, we would produce it or not that day, but like we'd take the order, probably fulfill it in a day or two, and then ship it off to your customer. They pay shipping, obviously, but you literally don't have any part of the process. It just gets shipped to your customer, and we have a price that we charge for. Let's just say for fun, we charge $10, and you're charging 15 or 20. We keep the 10, and then we send you the 5 or 10 to make up the difference. You know what I'm saying? And same with embroidery. Embroidery
Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah. So
no, that's awesome. I feel like I guess I don't listen to enough podcasts, but based on the ones I do listen to, I feel like this has gone in such a strange direction, but not in a bad way. Like this whole conversation we've been having, it would make for such a weird episode, but just not in like a bad way.
Well, tonight, right now,
I don't know. Maybe I don't listen to enough of them.
Well, I told you we're going to talk about the music. We're going to talk about life. We're going to talk about what whatever we wanted to. This is an opportunity for people to kind of get to know who you guys are as people too, not just like guys who want to get murdered making music.
Yeah. I also not happy about the price of eggs.
That's true. Or the price of milk.
It's ridiculous.
I don't like milk.
It's ridiculous.
we should just start doing pop trivia before he wraps up.
Yeah. How many or what wakes up? Okay, what walks on?
No, pop trivia about us.
Oh, pop trivia.
My God,
I was
Spencer. No, never mind. That's a disaster. Wrap it up.
I think we got.
I think I got what I needed. Yeah, we're done here.
Yeah. We could have kept going, but Spencer ruined it for everybody.
My bad.
No one will know. No one will get the goods.
No one will get the riddle.
What's the riddle? I need to know now. Come on.
Okay. What walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the afternoon, and 3 legs at night?
Oh my God. I know the answer to this one.
I don't know. Tell me.
Man.
What is it?
Man, a baby walks on 2 legs, beginning of their life, or 4 legs at the beginning of their life. They crawl.
I hate this stupid
2 legs,
because
middle of their life.
Morning, day, and night are a metaphor for life. And
I don't like this.
Oh, shut up!
It's a Greek metaphor.
I'm gonna cut this out.
Good.
No,
I hate that. I hate that.
Cut anytime Spencer talks out.
That's a stupid joke. I hate that joke.
It's not a joke. It's a riddle.
Riddle, whatever you want to call it. It's a dumb riddle.
Yeah, it's like that. That's why I said because he's what walks on 4 legs, then 2 legs, then 3, and I'm like fucking nothing realistically. But you have to have pre-existing knowledge of this bullshit metaphor in order to answer.
What do you?
Oh my God!
All right, this is your time to redeem yourself.
Shoot, I can't think of a riddle.
You're blowing it, dude. You're done,
dude. My bad. What do you call a mushroom that likes to party?
A fun guy.
Die, please.
A fun guy.
That's not even a riddle. That's just a joke. My favorite kind of jokes are long-winded jokes called shaggy dog stories, where you take way too long to tell the joke and the punchline isn't fulfilling whatsoever. Yeah, but I'm not gonna do that now. It is my favorite kind of joke.
If you really think about it, riddles are just jokes without a punchline.
Seriously, you've got to go.
We're done here. We're done.
Yeah.
AwakeningAutumn.com. Check out all the things that.
And Break My Teeth and My Insecticide will be out by then. I want My Insecticide to be received even better. So I'm going to make it happen.
Sweet.
Thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Social media.
The opportunity.
Are you guys on Facebook too, or just Instagram right now?
Instagram, TikTok. We might have a Facebook.
Legally, we do have a Facebook, but it's just for the business account on Instagram.
Yeah.
Understood. Got it.
So Awakening Autumn, Instagram,
on TikTok and Instagram, it's Awakening Autumn. We need to make other social medias.
Twitter,
definitely.
Other things coming eventually, hopefully.
Yeah.
I hate social media though.
So do I. But here we are.
It's a necessary evil.
It is. Well, guys, thanks for taking the time. Best of luck with the new single.
Thank you for the opportunity, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
A lot of fun, guys. Thanks so much.
All right. Peace.
See ya.